Hi, I'm Megan, and today I'm going to be playing Trekking Through History solo, and I will also go over the rules. This is by Underdog Games for 2 to 4 players, ages 10 and up, and it plays in around 30 to 60 minutes. I've already got it partially set up, so you're going to lay out the play mat here in the center of the table. You're going to have your clock off to the side. This is my itinerary for solo, and then I also have this reference sheet that tells me all the dates that are in each of the 3 decks. So the first thing I'll say is that if you have the retail edition, the solo mode does not come with the solo mode, so I did have to print off the rules and the different itineraries. So here's the rules, and then there's a couple other itineraries for different difficulties. And I'll link down in the description where you can find that to print off. I'm going to be playing on the medium difficulty. To finish setting up, you're going to put the token tray nearby. For the start of the game, you're going to have this day 1 deck, which is noted here by a 1, and it's also all the decks are a different color. You're going to lay that there face up and put 1 card on each of these spaces. Each player is going to choose a color. I'm going to choose red, and for the solo player, they're going to be blue. And you're going to place the watches, the pocket watches, there on the 12 o'clock. Each player gets one of these time crystals in their matching color. One of these trackers here to track the points. And each player will get 1 crystal to start off. This goes in your crystal tank here. You're going to place out ancestor cards according to player count. In solo, you get 3 cards, and that goes right here. In 2 players, you're going to place out 6 copies of these. 3 players, 9 copies, and 4 players, 12. Then you're going to shuffle the itinerary cards and deal 3 out to each player. I've already dealt out 3 to myself. And then each player is going to choose one of them to start off with. So you'll use one of these for each round. We're gonna go with that one. And just place your other 2 off to the side for now. And then also shuffle the other 2 decks of cards so that they're ready to go for the next 2 rounds. And I just leave these in the box until they're needed. And then if needed, you can give each player one of these reference cards. This side tells you the turn reference, and the back side tells you what to do when you reach the end of day 1 and the end of day 2. And then optionally, you can play with the Time Warps cards. I believe this is considered like a miniature expansion that did come with the retail edition of this game. I'm not going to be playing with these Time Warps this time, but I'll just show you them. They give you different benefits each round, and you'll have 3 cards, 1 for each round, and they go right here. And if you use the Time Warps, you will need to give each player an additional marker here. So first I'll go over how to play regularly, and then I'll go over the rules for solo. So in this game, you are basically traveling through time. You're doing a 3-day tour of history. Each tour is 1 day, which is 1 round. So this is the day 1 deck, and then the next round will be day 2, and so on. And so you basically, the theme is like you're visiting these different events in history and building out your itinerary here. You will score points from your itinerary card, for punctuality bonuses, and for having long treks. So it shows here on the side of the playmat, if you have 10 cards in your trek, it's worth 30 points at the end of the game. Turn order in this game is determined by the clock here. Whoever is on top will go first. And then later on during the game, whoever is farthest behind or on top and farthest behind will go next. So it's possible in this game that somebody will have multiple turns in a row. On your turn, you're going to perform the following steps in order. You're going to choose a card, move your pocket watch, collect benefits, place the card in your trek, and then slide and refill the cards. Each card has a title at the top here that tells you what this event is. And then it also has the year that the event took place. Then down here you have the amount of time you have to spend if you take this card. So you'd have to move your pocket watch 2 spaces. Then on this side you have the benefits that you receive. So you would take those tokens from the supply, as well as any tokens that were printed below that card. Here you have, it tells you what deck this belongs to. This is the day 1 deck. And then on the back side, it gives you information about this history event. So first you will choose a card, and you want to choose the earliest date, typically. So, because the earlier the date, the longer your trek could be. So I may choose this one. I would spend 2 time. Then I'll get my benefits here, a red and a yellow. Place them on my itinerary. Oops. And then I will slide the cards down and put out a new card. When you are placing these experience tokens, they have to go in the matching colored column, and they must go in the uppermost empty space of that column. So I have to place this yellow at the very top and this red at the very top. Any of these bonuses that you cover up, you receive immediately. So the next yellow I place will get me 3 victory points, and I'll go ahead and give that here. These give you crystals, and then these points off to the side is that I have to have a red, a yellow, and a green to get 5 points. And then down here, I'd have to get red, blue, and yellow to get 7 points. But again, you're placing the tokens in the uppermost empty spot. So in order to get this 7 points, I'd have to have 3 red, 3 blue, and 3 yellow. The BCE cards stand for Before Common Era. The larger the number, the older it is. So 506 comes before 221 BCE. And you have this little reference guide here that tells you all the dates for each deck. So if you're not sure which of the BCEs come first, you can check this chart here. The next time you take a card, you have to take a card that is later in time. So I have to choose a card that is later than 506 BCE. Currently they all are, so I could take any of them. But if I were to take this one, for example, the next time I take a card, I cannot take either of these 2 cards because they are earlier than the card that I have here. If you were to take a card that is earlier than your last card in your trek, then you must close out that trek. So you just collapse all the cards, turn it upside down, and place it off to the side and start a new trek with the card you just took. At the end of the game, you'll count up each of the treks you have put off to the side and count how many cards there are, and then check this chart to see how many points you get. So if I had 6 cards in this trek, at the end of the game, I'll get 10 points. At the end of the day, when all players have reached back to 12 o'clock, you will start a new day. You will get rid of the day 1 deck, and you will put out the next day's deck. You're going to discard your itinerary and all tokens that are on it, but you will keep your trek, and you will keep the crystals you have in your crystal tank. And each player will choose a new itinerary card of the other cards that they received at the beginning of the game. And then you're going to begin the next day with whoever is on top here. When you're spending time and you get towards the end, you never go past 12 o'clock. So if I were to get a card that is 3 time, but I only have 2 spaces to go, I stop here. But if I were to get a card that is exactly 2 time, and I land exactly on 12 o'clock, you get a punctuality bonus of 3 victory points. At the end of the 3rd day, you're going to add up your points and see who has the most points. Whoever has the most points is the winner. So during the game, you'll get points for your itinerary cards and punctuality bonus. So that will be already reflected here on the board. The only other thing you're going to add up is 1 point per unspent crystal. And then you're going to count up each of your treks and give yourself the points there. If you have 11 or more cards, you get an additional 3 victory points for every card past 10. So if I have 11, you see here that 10 is worth 30. But if I have 11, I get an additional 3. If I had 12, I would get 6 additional to make it 36 points. And that's the whole game. So let's go over the solo rules now. So I'm playing with medium difficulty. This is their itinerary for the entire game. So they do not change itineraries. They will have this for all 3 of their days, and they do not reset their tokens either. They follow the same rules as you, is that you have to place them in the uppermost empty space of that matching column. So you gotta start there. And then you're still giving them points and crystals. They will also get wild tokens and ancestor cards. So you will score them points throughout the game based off of what they have covered up. And I did not mention, but there are these ancestor cards that you can take as well as these 5 in the deck. So you could choose to take one of these instead. It's always going to be 3 time. It only gives you 1 wild token, and the date copies the date of the card that it is laying on top of. So for instance, this ancestor card, its date is considered to be 221 BCE. So the AI will be taking these cards as they cover up certain spaces here. When they are to place a wild token, and you can place your wild tokens wherever, but it still has to go in the uppermost empty space of whichever column you place it in. When they are placing a wild token, it also goes in the uppermost space, but the column it goes into is the rightmost column. So for example, like this, it would go in the uppermost empty space of that row. And if we had this, for example, it would go in the uppermost empty space. which is one of these two here, and it will choose the farthest right space, just like that. Typically, the AI will not spend their crystals, but for medium difficulty, down here at the bottom, it does say that when they take a history card with a cost of 4 or more, they will attempt to spend their time crystals to reduce that cost to 3. So when you are spending time, you have the option to spend crystals to reduce the cost. You can never reduce the cost lower than 1, so you have to at least spend 1 time. So I can spend 1 crystal to make this 3 times 2, or I can spend 2 crystals to make it 1 time. You cannot spend crystals that you just earned from taking that card. So if you were to take this card, it gives you a crystal. Or if you were to take that card and you end up covering a spot with a crystal, you cannot spend either of those crystals to decrease the time of that card. Which is why typically you're supposed to spend time first before you take your tokens. So they will only spend crystals if the cost is 4 or more, and they're going to reduce the cost to 3 if possible. And it'll still take the card if it doesn't have the crystals to spend. So I think that's everything. Hopefully I went over all the rules. If I forgot something, I will definitely mention it as I get playing. And so I'm going to shuffle up this deck again and get started. Alright, I'm all set up, so I'm going to go ahead and get started here. I take the first turn. So let's see, this is the earliest date and time, but it only gives me a green and a crystal. This one gives me green and a red, but no printed bonus below it. So let's go with, let's see, 17. And then they will take the earliest card. So that's something I forgot to mention when explaining solo rules. They will always take the earliest possible date. And they still get the tokens that are on the card and printed below it. And if there are no cards that they can take, then they will start a new trek. Okay, so let's go with, so if I don't take this one, they will. So I'm going to take that one and get a green and a crystal. I will spend my crystal, but then I get it back because of the printed bonus there. So I'm only spending 2 times. Then I'll place that green there, shift the cards down, and now they are farthest behind, so it is their turn. And this is the earliest date, so that's what they're going to take. It's 3 times, and they get a red, a green, and another red. So 2 reds and a green. That red gives them 3 victory points, and the green gives them a crystal. And back to me. I think I'm gonna go with this one. Spend 2 times. Or should I spend 1 time? Let's just spend 2 times. And I get a red. So back to them, because they're farthest behind. They're gonna take this one here, because that's the earliest date. It is 5 times, so they're gonna spend crystals to make it 3 times. And they get 2 crystals, a blue and a green. So they get those 2 crystals right back. And we slide these down. So the next earliest date looks like 12:30. Or I can jump to 1385, gets me green, and a blue. I need a red, blue, and a yellow. I think I will take this one. So that's 3 times. I'm going to spend a crystal to make it 2 times. I get a yellow. And then that puts me on top, so I get to go again. And I'm going to take this one. That's 3 times. And I get a blue and a green. Green gives me a crystal. And now it's back to them. Next earliest date for them is 1504. It costs them 2 times. They get a red and a crystal. So they're now farthest behind, so they will go again. So even though the earliest date out there is BCE, they don't take that because they're trying to get the longest trek possible. So they just keep taking the next earliest date in time that is later in time than their card. So exactly how I've been doing. So 1504, the next card past that date, but the earliest possible is 1629. They only take one of these early dates again is if none of the other cards out there are they able to take. So that costs them 3 times, and they get a wild. So the wild goes in the uppermost empty space, which is that one, and that makes me lose a crystal. And now it's back to me. The next earliest date for me is kind of late in time, so I'm going to take an ancestor card. And that gives me a wild, and it is 3 times, which gives me the punctuality bonus, so I get 3 points. And I get my wild, which will give me 5 points. And so it's back to them, and they're going to take, looks like 1794, which is 1 time. Lucky them, they will also get the punctuality bonus. And they get a yellow and a crystal. Oops, I put that in the wrong spot. Was they supposed to take? Oh, they were supposed to take a wild. I grabbed a blue. My bad. So there's that. And yep. All right, so that didn't cover anything. So now we're both at 12 o'clock, so we're going to end this day and start a new one. So we get rid of this deck of cards and put out the next deck. And then we're going to get rid of, well, I'm going to get rid of my itinerary. So I get rid of all these tokens. And I choose my new itinerary card of the 2 that I had set aside. And let's go with maybe that one. I don't know. I really don't know how to determine what is the best itinerary card to choose. But so I'm going to keep, we both keep our treks, and they are first. So the next earliest for them is 1985. That costs them 1 time, and they get 2 blues. That blue gives them 3 victory points. And now it's my turn. So because I have the ancestor card, my date is 1385. So this is the next earliest for me, 2 blues and a yellow. That's pretty good, except it's 4 time. So they're probably gonna get to do 2 turns in a row here. So there is no cards past 1985. So they will close this trek and start a new one. And I'll just put their cards off to the side. Now they're gonna choose the earliest date, which is this one. That's 2 time. They get a blue and a yellow. That yellow gives them an ancestor card and the blue gives them a crystal. So they're gonna place that ancestor card there. And the ancestor gives them a wild. So the uppermost, farthest right. And it's still their turn. So next they're gonna take this one here. It is 4 times, so they're gonna spend 1 crystal to make it 3 time. They get a blue, yellow, wild, and red. So you always place the other tokens before you place the wild. That gives them another wild. Yellow gives them 5 points. And these wilds are going to both go here. So they get a crystal and another 5 points. And now it is my turn. I'm at 1493, so I can take this one. Or I can start a new trek. Right now I'm at 6, so that's worth 10 points. They also had a trek of 6 that they just closed, so I think I want to do 1 more than them. Plus it'll give me a crystal. So 3 time. I get a crystal and a blue. I'm pretty sure each of these experience tokens are called something specific. That gives me 2 points. Let me look in the rule book. Yeah, so the red is person experience, the blue is event experience, yellow is innovation, green is progress, and then you just have wild and the time crystals. Okay, so shift these down and it's their turn. So 400, they're gonna take this one. That costs them 3 time. They get red, yellow, and blue. Blue gives them 5 points. And back to me. So 1507, let's go with, should I start a new day? This one gives me, so basically it's only these 2 cards I can take from. I think I'm gonna start a new day and I could start with this one, which gives me the green and another blue. So let's do that. We're gonna close out my day. And I'm gonna take this one, cost me 2 time, which puts me on top so I could go again. That gives me 5 points. And then the next one, I could do 2 yellows. I only need 1 yellow though. Or I could jump forward in time. I don't think I want to do that. So let's take, we're gonna take this one, red and green. No, we'll take this one. 2 yellows and 2 time. I only need 1 yellow. That gives me 3 points. And now it's their turn, so they're gonna take, looks like this one. Cost them 4, so they're gonna spend a crystal to make it 3, which gives them the punctuality bonus. And they get 2 reds and a green. Red gives them a wild, and green gives them an ancestor card, which gives them another wild. And that wild gives them 5 points. Need to catch up here in points. So I can take 1 more card. Let's go with, be nice if I can get some blues, but that would jump me forward in time a lot. I should have took the ancestor card while I had the chance. It's definitely not possible to get that 10 points, but I could possibly get, can I get this? I don't think so. I can get a red and a wild, so I could get a crystal. Let's take this one. It's 4 time. I'm not gonna spend a crystal because I wouldn't get my punctuality bonus anyways. So I get red, wild, and crystal. And the wild I'm gonna place here and get 2 points. And that is the end of day 2. So we're gonna go to day 3. So each deck gets later and later in time. Like as you can see, there's a lot of 1900s and 1800s. I get rid of my itinerary. And I get my final itinerary. And I'm first, so I'm at 1280. I'm gonna have to jump forward in time quite a bit. So I'm gonna take this one and spend a crystal to make it 2 time. I get red, blue, and green. And it's their turn. They're definitely gonna take this 1209, which is 2 time. And they get a red and a green. So they are going again, and they're gonna take this 1503, which is 3 time. And they get 2 reds and a green. The reds give them 6 points, and the green makes me lose my final crystal, unfortunately. And now it's my turn. Let's do, I think I'm gonna take this one even though it's 5 time. So that gives me 2 blues and a wild and a crystal. I think one of the things I hate the most about Solo is the fact that they can get rid of your crystals, because it's not very often that you get crystals, so it's like you gotta spend them when you have them. We're gonna put that there, I think. Yeah. Okay. So now it's their turn, and they're gonna take 15-10. And that's 4 times, so they're gonna spend a crystal to make it 3. They get a blue, wild, and red. And they're gonna steal my crystal, I bet. Maybe not, let's see. They don't need reds anymore. Nope, they don't steal my crystal, but they get 10 points. And then it's back to me. 1849. The next card they're gonna take is that one. But if I take this one, the next one they'll take is 1901, which unfortunately is gonna shift that, which I don't want. I need those 2 yellows, but it would also be nice to have this. But unfortunately, I can't make that happen. So if I did 1, 2, 3, that one cost me 2, but I can spend 1. Nope, because they're about to get rid of my crystal here. Alright, so I'm just gonna take this one. I'm gonna spend my crystal because they're about to take it. And I get a red and 2 yellows. That gives me 10, 11, 12 points. 10, 12. Shift these down. And now I can take, so I'm at 1959. Looks like the only one I can take is that one. 2 yellows. Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to start a new truck, because there's only one other card after that. So let's do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Unfortunately, they're gonna have a lot longer truck than me. So this is not looking good. Let's take this one, I think. I get red and yellow. It's only cost me 2 time. That gives me 2 points and a crystal, which they're about to take. 2 points. And now they are going to take this one, which is 4 times, so they're going to spend a crystal. They get red, 2 blues, and a crystal. That makes me lose my crystal. And they don't need reds. I did not spend their time. That cost them 3. So it's back to me. If I can, it'd be nice if I can take 2 cards. I don't know if I can make that happen though. Yeah, because the only way I'd be able to make that happen is this. But if 1994 doesn't come up, I am screwed. So let's go with whatever is going to get me the most points. So red and yellow will get me 8. Red and green would get me 6. So it looks like this one. No punctuality. Well, hold on. If I did this one, that would get me 6, 7, 8, 9. So yeah, let's do that. That'll give me a red anagram, which is 6, but it'll also give me the punctuality bonus, which is 3. So that's 9 points. Caught up a little bit, but probably not enough. And for their final card, they're gonna take 1901, I think, which gives them a crystal and a blue. The blue gives them 3 points. Because they're already ahead here and they have definitely a longer trek here, I think they are going to take the win. But let's count it up. So my 2-day trek is worth 0 points. And this trek, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's worth 10 points. And then this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is worth 15. They're definitely gonna catch up here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 is worth 33, yeah. I did so bad. 1, so that's 10, 20, 30, 1, 2, 3. And then they still have one other trek, which is 3, 6, another 10 points. So I lost by a long shot. So that is 94 to 68. It's really hard to get those long treks when they're taking all the earliest possible dates, and they keep taking my crystals because I'm spending too much time as opposed to them. But yeah, this is a fun game. I like it solo, I like it multiplayer, and it's a fairly quick game, which I love. And it's really cool if you can take the time to read about the different events. It's very interesting. So that's everything. Hope you enjoyed watching, and have a great day, and see you next time. Bye.